Hello everyone. Today I shall read chapter 10, The Valiant Warrior, Part 1. The Valiant Warrior. You smiled and forgot the tears. You thought of joy and forgot the fear. You laughed aloud and forgot the pain. You conversed freely and forgot to whisper. You enjoyed every moment of life cause you knew that the time is like a river. The waves that passed would never be seen again. You knew that you could not touch the same water twice. Ruplu was in class 10, all geared for the HSLC curriculum, the classes, home assignments, tuitions, practical works and projects. His studies were balanced with his ever fun-filled activities. English and social science tuitions were with the campus kids in Mamta Madam's house in the campus. He enjoyed the group tuition with the small children and never wanted to miss it. Many a time I wondered how he could retain ma'am's teachings as the kids were always very noisy. Once a week he attended the computer tuition in Aparajita ma'am's house and thrice a week the science tuition in Debotush sir's residence. Time management was very difficult and the subject that would bring frowns on his forehead was maths. It had to be done at home. He was as busy as a bee in his hive of studies and tuitions. For a few days Binoy sir taught him maths, but no one could get the better of him except for his father. Afternoon 3 to 4 was the time for maths. Bhaskar would be at the peak of his voice. Tur dara nohobo, iman sonchol bare bare bhul koro. You can't do it, you are too restless, you make the same mistakes. The more Bhaskar shouted, the more the mistakes, and Ruplu would be enraged. Poor boy, he would lose concentration as Adi and the other kids were at the doorstep calling him to play. I used to be in the hospital, but if I happened to be at home, I hated that 1 hour of maths between father and son. Ruplu's anger outbursts compelled him to throw away his pen, bang the door and run down to play. My dear Pooh was a brainy lad but not the studious type. He was very practical, observant and never hesitated to help others. He kept himself busy in extracurricular activities. On Sundays he spent hours washing our cars. Never was he stingy with the water and shampoo and would be drenched himself too. Studies, cycling and play would exhaust him. 8:30 p.m. was his dinner time. I would usually hand feed him his night meals as his eyes were transfixed watching his favorite TV serial Tarak Mehta Ka Ulta Chashma. He retired to bed by 9 to 9:30 p.m. He never missed any festival, any birthday or marriage party. Salt and Pepper and Khana.com were his favorite joints. He was in the peak of all activities and a week before his half-yearly exams in June 2016, he suffered a backache accompanied by pins and needles. He would say, "Ma, yat karen mora nisina lagise. Ma, I feel like a shock down my spine." Symptoms were never severe and he carried on his routine. I advised driver Mithu to drive slowly as they traversed through the bumpy road for science tuition. On the second day of his half-yearly exams, he asked me for an analgesic. He said, "Ma, aji 3 ghonta bohibo lagibo. Muk eta bishor tablet diba." "Ma, today I will have to sit for 3 hours. Give me an analgesic tablet." We assumed the backache to be muscle spasm as the tall boy, 6 feet tall, had to bend while washing the car tires and while playing cricket, and on 3 occasions he had an analgesic while attending exams. Exams were over and Ruplu was very happy as his Abu visited us in Hojai. He enjoyed her company and liked to hear her childhood stories of Borpeta and about her father, Ruplu's great-grandfather, late Mr. Akhoy Das, a true Gandhian and a Congress MLA of his time. His backache was mild and it did not stop him from play, but suddenly the doomsday knocked at the door. One evening when I returned from the hospital at 7 p.m., my mother-in-law told me that Ruplu's back pain had increased and that he did not go out to play. Oh my God, I felt so bad. I was too occupied with my busy schedule and did not inquire about his pain. But without wasting more time, we got an X-ray of the spine done. The X-ray revealed a reduction of the disc space between thoracic 11 and 12 vertebrae. I sent the X-ray picture to Dr. D. Fukan through WhatsApp and he advised a CT scan of the whole spine. Following day, CT scan was done. During the procedure, when Ruplu was drawn in under the scan machine, Bhaskar, Dr. Halim, radiologist, Pankaj, the radiographer, and I gazed at the monitor screen. Alas, we were speechless. All of us were shocked and devastated. After 5 years of fruitful living, there was a relapse of the disease, a complete abnormality of the thoracic 12 vertebra with hyperdense shadows and lytic areas. The deadly man-eater that was dormant all this while started eating up the vertebra. It was unbelievable as Ruplu was doing so well. He led a disease-free period for 5 long years. We were so happy about it, but soon a pall of gloom overshadowed our happiness. We could not burst out and show our reaction in front of dear Pooh. Instead, we wore a masked face to hide our grief. We had no words to express our sorrow, neither did we have any time to lose but to pack and leave for Mumbai. We tried our best to act normally as if nothing serious had happened. We told Ma and Ruplu that it was a minor ailment, but we had to leave for Mumbai for his checkup. At night, when both of them went to bed, I cried and wailed as I did the packing. Ruplu was doing so well, and Dr. Tapan Saikia's words way back in 2011, Ruplu tumi bhal hoy gola, Ruplu you are all right, always echoed in my ears. We thought Ruplu was cured. He was fine throughout, but why did the recurrence occur? Why he had to suffer again? He was given chemotherapy as per the guidelines given by Dr. Tapan Saikia. Regular yearly checkups and investigations were done. But the ill-fated disease, the deadly man-eater, had spread to distant areas of his body in the form of micrometastasis. Prior appointments with Dr. Saikia, flight tickets and hotel booking were to be done in a day, and Bhaskar managed it all. My dear Ruplu never reacted to what was going on, never showed his anguish and grief, but silently and sportingly moved with the flow. Maybe he thought we did the best to comfort him and heal him. Baba, you only wish to be pain-free and journey to Mumbai. Yes, he was excited to travel again, especially when his exams were over and school was closed due to summer vacation. We set out from Hojai to Guwahati and Guwahati to Mumbai the next day. As usual, Ruplu enjoyed the airport snacks and surprisingly his backache subsided with the analgesics. 15/7/2016. We consulted Dr. Tapan Saikia and he noted, has been keeping well, grooming well in general health. However, 3 days ago felt pain in the lumbar area along with paresthesia. Now it's not bothersome. CT scan done in Hojai, lytic lesion in T12, clinically no abnormality. Advised to meet Dr. Manish Agarwal for further opinion. Dr. Saikya called Dr. Manish Agarwal and said, "The doctor couple from Assam had come and the son needs your consultation." Thus it became easy for Bhaskar to book the appointment with Dr. Manish at PD Hinduja Hospital. 16/7/2016. Dr. Manish was consulted and he was very upset at the relapse of the killer disease. Sir advised a couple of investigations that included X-ray right hip joint and right leg, chest X-ray, MRI spine, and PET CT and blood tests. One after the other, the young warrior had to undergo the radio imaging tests with exposure to the harmful radiations and the needle pricks of blood tests. He hated the noisiest and time-consuming MRI, but with patience and positivity underwent all. Bhaskar would lose control and get angry while queuing for bills, investigation dates and time, and collecting reports. Ruplu and I would wait in the lobbies, eyes roving here and there to look at the different patients and attendants. We had our share of fun with snacks and juices. But deep inside I was very tense, thinking what the reports would be like and if the disease had spread elsewhere. 17/7/2016. MRI dorsal spine was done and it revealed the same finding, relapse of the disease in T12 vertebra, but alas, a new finding on chest X-ray, a small round opacity appeared in the right lung. It was a lung metastasis. Oh God, we were shattered to the core. The man-eater had invaded two new areas of his body. What's next? We the sufferers can only imagine what mental trauma we were going through. Ruplu was never expressive of his tension. It was a mystery. Without a word, he would abide by the procedures done on him. I went to Dr. Manish Agarwal's chamber with a chest X-ray and he pointed out and said, "That's a lung met." I was speechless. My face darkened at the very sound of it as I knew about the bad prognosis. Again another test, the CT thorax was advised. 18/7/2016. CT thorax was done and it revealed a solitary right lung nodule of 1.8 into 3 centimeters size. Dr. Manish assured us that the nodule was small and its resection would improve its prognosis and hence his longevity. For the T12 lesion, radiotherapy was the only therapy as surgical removal and implantation would be too traumatic and not feasible as there was a lung met. No, that was not the end of the investigation. Radiotherapy will not be rendered without a biopsy. Thus another spearhead for the soldier, a CT-guided biopsy of T12 vertebra was advised. The valiant warrior's tolerance and patience were surprising. Maybe it was a gift of God, maybe the procedures kept him engaged. Maybe with every test the hope of getting cured increased, and once out of the hospital Pooh would lead a lavish life in Mumbai of outings and dining. But Bhaskar's anger only increased and his patience was on a downward spiral. His question was, how many investigations would dear Ruplu have to undergo? Being a doctor, he knew its necessity, but being a father, it was unbearable for him. My role was to keep Ruplu happy and to console Bhaskar and assured him that the radiation to the vertebra and resection of the solitary nodule would improve the prognosis and Ruplu would be fine. 20/7/2016. CT-guided paravertebral soft tissue biopsy of T12 vertebra was done. The young soldier dressed in the grey-colored hospital gown as if ready for the warfare. He went up to the battlefield, the CT scan room, very sportingly and courageously. Bhaskar and I sat outside very tense, chanting prayers for a safe procedure. We anticipated all its complications like pain, bleeding, injury to the most vital structures, the spinal cord and the spinal nerve roots. So it happened the way we were thinking. The radiologist said that the procedure was attempted at 2 different sites due to bleeding, Ewing sarcoma being highly vascular. Thankfully, Ruplu did not feel any pain as it was done under general anesthesia. Back in the hotel, Ruplu was concerned about the piece of gauze plastered onto his back. He asked me, "Ma, etu erigole kiba hobo niki? Ma, if it gets detached, will anything happen?" I consoled him and said that it was just a fine needle prick and that he should be tension-free. 21/7/2016, we visited Dr. Tapan Saikia and he writes, being investigated at Hinduja Hospital, relapse disease not extensive, T12 lesion biopsied, reports awaited. Once confirmed will need chemotherapy, irinotecan IV, temozolomide oral, close monitoring for response, radiation therapy to T12 spine, lung solitary nodule resection, the role of high-dose chemotherapy and autologous stem cell transplant has not been established. Newer immunotherapy are investigated to keep in reserve. Reports were confirmed and chemotherapy with injection irinotecan and tablet temozolomide were advised for 12 to 16 weeks. So I end this chapter here. Meet you with the second part of the Valiant Warrior. Till then, stay safe, stay fit.